On the morning of 17th October 1980, Adam Ant found out he couldn't even nip to the corner shop without causing a scene. There was pointing, girls chasing us down the street, all of it, he later said. He was nearly 27 and had become a star overnight. The night before, Adam and the Ants had made their first appearance on Top of the Pops, performing Dog Eat Dog. At that point, the single had only just crept into the top 40 at number 37, which normally wouldn't earn a slot on the BBC's Biggest Music Show. They hadn't been getting much attention from the press either. If we'd got played on the radio, you'd have known about it, Adam said. But I don't remember anyone actually playing it. We weren't getting much joy from Radio 1. Their lucky break came when another act pulled out of Top of the Pops at the last minute. Their plugger managed to get them on, and it changed everything. Guitarist Marco Perroni, Adam's main songwriting partner, called it the moment they'd been waiting for. "I was totally a glam kid," he said. "Bowie doing Starman, Roxy music, that's what I grew up on. I wanted to create something that made kids argue in the playground the next day. And that's exactly what happened across the country." For many young viewers, that Top of the Pops performance was a turning point, sparking a lasting interest in the bold theatrical side of new wave and new romantic music. The next day in schools across the country, opinions were split. Some kids thought it was the best thing they'd ever seen, even cooler than Star Wars. Others were baffled or dismissive, mocking the makeup and style. In some cases, the reaction included playground insults like calling Adam a gaylord, a strange and outdated slur that seemed to come from the odd idea that gay people operated within some kind of medieval hierarchy. It didn't make much sense then, and still doesn't now. The following week, Dog Eat Dog jumped to number 19, then climbed to number 4. By New Year, Ant music had been released, and their album Kings of the Wild Frontier knocked ABBA's Super Trooper off the top of the charts. Suddenly, Adam and the Ants were the biggest band in the country. In 1981, they had 7 singles in the top 40 at the same time. Even their old label cashed in by re-releasing earlier material. Young Parisians, originally from 1978, reached number 9 purely on the back of their newfound success. More than 45 years later, their rise still feels surreal. Adam and the Ants are now a key part of British music history. You can't watch a documentary about the 80s without seeing Adam jump through a window in the Stand and Deliver video. Their albums have been reissued in deluxe editions, and clips of their Top of the Pops performances still pop up regularly on BBC 4. What makes it even more unusual is that they didn't sound like typical chart acts. While some tracks had strong melodies, most of their music was built around heavy tribal drums, twangy surf guitar, feedback and strange yelps. It was dramatic and intense, more influenced by punk, glam and world rhythms than anything traditionally pop. Music writer Simon Reynolds once described Prince Charming as one of the strangest hit singles ever made, and it's hard to disagree. It opens with screams and rolls along with a slow, pounding beat, yet still spent 4 weeks at number 1. Their lyrics added to the strangeness. Adam and the Ants sang about pirates, highwaymen, rebellion and standing out from the crowd. There were nods to fetish culture, military history and outsider art. Adam channeled Mark Bolan's swagger and made sure fans knew just how good the band thought they were. Like a boxer before a fight, he says now. You've got to have that bravado, that confidence, that belief. But the glory didn't last long. Just 1 year and 1 platinum album later, the band split. Prince Charming had produced 2 number 1s and a number 3 single, but bassist Kevin Mooney was the first to leave, uncomfortable with the fame and commercial pressure. Adam and Marco, on the other hand, were loving it. "I used to think of things the music magazine NME would hate," Marco joked. "Panto, they'll hate pantomime. Let's make it even more like Panto." Adam and Marco kept working together into the late 1990s, and had more hits under Adam's solo name, but nothing quite matched the cultural impact of the Ants' peak years. Then again, nothing else has really matched it since. British music has taken all sorts of directions since the early 80s, but no other act has combined punk, tribal rhythms, glam visuals, and new romantic styling in quite the same way. Their brief reign looks even more unique today, a strange theatrical explosion that somehow found massive mainstream success. It had its own energy and vibe, says Adam, who performed Kings of the Wild Frontier live on tour in 2016-17. I did it on my own terms. I didn't compromise, not musically or visually, and people really took to it. The look was easy to copy and didn't cost much, which helped. And it worked with that smash hits era, where kids weren't reading the articles, they were tearing the pages out and sticking them on their walls. That hadn't really happened since T-Rex. It was a return to something fun and wild. Then, thinking of all the references they packed in, the 11th Hussars, tribal symbolism, pirate outfits, British playwright and author Joe Orton and more. He adds with a grin, well, kind of pop. If you know what I mean, Adam and the Ants didn't last long, but what they did in that short time really stuck. They weren't just another band with a few hits. They were bold, strange, full of energy and impossible to ignore. They didn't just stand out. They stood and delivered, and for a while they completely took over. Even now, all these years later, no one's really come close to doing what they did.